My husband left me alone to take care of 3 kids by myself. Hi guys, it's Gigi. Welcome back to the channel. So let's just back up a little bit and go back into how the whole situation panned out. So during that time, there was a recession going on. This was like in the mid 2000s, early to mid 2000s. He had a full-time job. He worked as an entrepreneur as well. You know, I helped him as much as I could with being a stay-at-home mom at the time. And so when he was out doing his full-time job, I was handling whatever business needed to be handled, while teaching our kids, while preparing meals and all of the such. I did all of the household chores, all of that stuff, because my husband was working. He was constantly working, had a couple of businesses on the side that started out doing pretty well. And then over time, things just started to tank. The stock market started to tank. Contracts started to disappear. When things are happening with different companies and businesses, they're going to put themselves first. So whatever it is that you need, whatever contracts that you have, it's just going to go to the back burner. And that's just the way that business works. They're always going to protect themselves first. And so with us being a provider type of business, meaning that we provided services to different people for different reasons, that put us at the bottom of the totem pole. Okay. When the contracts started to get canceled, the stock market started to crash. Someone tried to set my husband up on federal charges. This was a person that was supposed to had been looking out for his best interest, being that he was an employee, but that person set him up to take a fall for something that my husband didn't even do, for federal charges. And if you've ever been around us for any period of time, you know that our faith is strong, and we know that the Most High is always looking out for us. And so that person tried to set him up. It didn't work out. His plot did not work out. And somebody actually who was a friend, or, you know, we're kind of close to the plotter, actually was the one to give my husband a heads up about what was going on, and actually spoke on my husband's behalf, knowing that this person was just wrong. He was just completely wrong. I'm not going to even go into who he was, but he's going to get his if he hadn't already got it. From what I heard, he's already getting his. Don't be discouraged, you know, when you go through hard situations. This was one of the many things that led up to my husband just leaving us. The girls were young, so it was up to me to take care of the girls, take care of all of their needs, make sure that they still got to school. If anything went wrong, you know, I'm their protector. Yes, we had people who were close enough to where they could get to us, but, you know, never close enough if you're going through, you know, a hard situation at the time. And so just a series of unfortunate events happened. My husband ended up unemployed for a long period of time. And so he was out there picking up batteries, picking up metal, taking it to sell at different places, to pay our mortgage. At the time, we had a home that was easily affordable for us. But when basically all of your income becomes depleted, then there's only so long that you can go and maintain in order to still keep your family financially together. We're hoping that this was just going to be a couple of months, that things were just hard, that things were tough, but we scraped and scrounged and we tried and we did everything that we could. We sold off everything that we had, all of the cars and trucks and everything that we had. We sold it to stay afloat. That kept us afloat for a while, but after, I don't know how long it was. It was a while, but after a while, we just didn't have anything else to give. Trying to find a job was just hard. There was no way that during a recession of that magnitude, when the country actually had to give money to the banks to bail the banks out, there was nobody to give money to us. Thankfully, we did have family members, who would step in and make sure that we still had food. Here's the reality. At the end of the day, all that matters is, do you have shelter? Do you have something to eat to make sure that your kids don't go hungry? At the end of the day, when everything else falls, that's all that matters. And so that led to my husband having to go to different cities that were far away from us because he just could not find a job that was near where we were. And so he had to go to different cities. He ended up going to a different state even to make sure that he could find some work. And that's what he had to do. He had to go and he had to work for a while. Things were just still not great, but he was bringing the money back home. Sometimes he had a friend to stay with, and sometimes he had to stay in the car. By the grace of God, we made it through with making sure that the girls and I always had a roof over our head. But he had to branch out. And, and I see a lot of people who are just like, well, they don't want to leave their city. They don't want to step out because this is the place that they want to be. Sometimes you don't get to be where you want to be, and you may have to do something unorthodox. And right now is one of those times where you just may have to do something very unorthodox in order to be able to survive, in order for your family to be able to survive. So him stepping out, him going and had to leave us, and we didn't see him sometimes for a week or two at a time. It was hard. It was hard for the girls, being little. They wanted to know where their dad was at, and having close relationships, with the children. Like, he missed them and they missed him. I did my best to keep them occupied and make sure that they didn't slip in any area, that they really didn't feel what was happening, what was really truly happening. They didn't feel it because we just kept that type of stuff amongst grown people. They just knew that we had to move out of our house, but we moved to an apartment complex and they had a pool. As a matter of fact, they had two pools. And the girls were like, oh yeah, we can do this because we didn't have a pool at our house. Sometimes you have to step out on faith. Sometimes you have to really do some things that you didn't anticipate doing. And those things can lead you to places where you never thought that you would go. All of that hardship, all of that stuff that we went through, it helped us when we bought our next house. And yes, you can buy again after foreclosure. We actually got foreclosed, and we had an FHA loan at the time that we got foreclosed. And there was a waiting period. We had to wait for 3 years and a day or something like that in order to be able to go and get another home loan. But that also gave us enough time to try to recover from some of the damage that had been done due to that just unfortunate series of events. And all he needed from me was just to hold the family down while he was gone. He was gone making the money. I was making sure that the kids were taken care of. Like in those type of situations, you can't afford daycare. You can't afford daycare. And so for us, the choice was easy. You know, he was just going to have to do some things that was going to be a little uncomfortable for the family with him being away for a while. But him being away led us to be able to recover. And it took a while to recover. It took a lot of letter writing and asking people to understand our situation. It took a lot of having to find things to sell and to flip and to whatever we had to do in order to make some money so that we could move towards buying another home. So don't give up. No matter what happens in your life and your relationship, don't ever allow money to come in between you and the people that you love. Make sure that you are looking out for other people and that you build relationships and you build community with your friends and your family and people who are like-minded, so that when you do go through hard things, you do have somebody who is at least there willing to give you something to eat and something to drink and temporarily even somewhere to stay if need be. I hope this helps someone. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.